This is the story of how I found out that I had diabetes at 10 years old. So like I said, I was 10 years old and this all happened right before my 11th birthday. The first sign that I had was that I lost a ton of weight. I came from a family of really skinny people, so it was really hard to tell that I had lost so much weight. My parents just thought that I was like losing all my baby fat and I was just getting older, and that's why I was so skinny. But I was literally just like skin and bones. I remember going to swimming lessons, and of course I was in a swimsuit, so that's how you could really see it. But my swim coach would always make comments like, "Are you gonna go get a burger after this? Because you need to eat a burger. Like, you are so skinny, that is not normal." Of course, my parents did not know the signs of type 1 diabetes, so they had no idea. They just thought that I was a skinny kid. I felt pretty crappy growing up. I was always calling out of school. I was always sick. But it wasn't until a few days before I got diagnosed that things got really bad. I was the skinniest I have ever been. I was like 10 years old and like 55 pounds, which is not normal. You're supposed to be like 80 pounds at that age. But I weighed less than my cousins who were like 5 years old. But still, my parents had no idea. They just thought I was a skinny kid. But then the days leading up to it, I started to get all the symptoms of a stomach flu. Throwing up a lot, I was just really sick, I could barely keep my eyes open. I was drinking so much water. I became extremely obsessed with the water that came from my fridge. I just couldn't stop drinking it. I kept refilling my water bottle over and over, and I would just drink like 30 water bottles every single day. It got to the point where I could not keep anything down, not even water. I would drink water and it would come right back up. And my parents had sent a picture to my grandma, who used to be a nurse, and she was like, "You need to take her in, like she's dying. You can tell. You could tell by my eyes were sunken in." I literally looked like a zombie. My parents take me to the hospital, they checked my blood sugar, and they found out it was 985. With a blood sugar that high, you will not live more than a couple of hours. And they kept telling my parents how lucky they were that they brought me in when they did, because I was just a mere few hours from dying. The hospital I was at didn't even know what to do with me, so they called an ambulance and I ended up going to Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is where they finally started giving me insulin. And as soon as they started giving me insulin, I was just like perking back up and I was just turning back into my normal self. They taught me everything I needed to know about diabetes and everything that comes with it. I was in the hospital for about 3 days before they finally set me off on my own. And I know that it was really terrifying for my parents because they basically just send you home with this insulin that can kill you and you have no experience with. And even though they teach you about it in the hospital, you don't really find out how it works until you're doing it hands-on. But yeah, definitely a very scary and crazy time in my life. Looking back, the signs were really obvious. My family had no experience with type 1 diabetes. I had nobody in my family with it. But if we had seen the signs sooner, we could have prevented a lot of damage. So please, if you have any of these symptoms right here, I'm going to put them on the screen, go to the doctor immediately and request them to check your blood sugar. And yeah, that is the story of how I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 10 years